Clubhouse. 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 Thank you. Clubhouse. Clubhouse. Thank you. Clubhouse. 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 Thank you.
A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3. Ow! Nah. Can we do better? Obviously. Who the heck in the Lebanese Maronite community in Sydney is going to teach me how to sing? Ugh, is that the new next step? Is that the new challenge that I'm going to set myself? Oi, maybe. Why not? Maybe I might try stand-up comedy, MCing, DJing. Why not? Be a little bit manic, like my Uncle Charlie and my Uncle Zulzul. I hope I didn't hurt Mark Toke's feelings. You know? I don't think at this point it's hurting anyone's feelings. And I'm not really concerned about burning my bridges with a company who I believe are sort of fraudulent criminals, who I believe are, in my opinion, based on my experience with them, I hold that claim to be true in my mind. You know, yeah, it's an opinion, and I think it's a grounded kind of opinion. I say criminal, because I'm the one that was harmed, so I feel like I can be a bit hyperbolic, let's say. Yeah, but I don't want to work with, people who I believe to be criminals, right? You get my point? I'm choosing to burn bridges with people who I am uncomfortable having a bridge with, right? There's another perspective that people don't seem to consider with the whole idea of be nice to people. You don't want to burn bridges. No, sometimes building bridges is good. It's okay. Some people are bad and you don't want bridges or connections with them. I really do think the claim, let's just say, that I hear often, do not burn bridges, is almost like some sort of affirmation for the abused. Let's say, cop it. Take that beating. You don't want to burn bridges. It's alright, they financially abused you. Cop it. Keep that bridge alive because you might need money from them after. It's accept their abuse and keep that bridge alive because you might be able to, you might need them. But my point is, you don't want to be in a position of you don't want to be in a position where you can be financially abused. There's a toxic power play, when it comes to builders and their subcontractors. And I don't like people that abuse their financial power. I want to burn every single bridge with builders like that and people like that. That's an extraordinarily bad, toxic habit and choice that those builders are making. Yeah. And by the way, righteous anger. Come on now. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to use that word, and it's certainly corny, right? I'm not unaware that all of this is quite lame and weird, right? But, I felt like I was harmed and manipulated and mistreated, and I don't have a platform, right? And court processes take a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of anguish. And I never really cared about the money, because at the end of the day, it's not mine. It's my dead grandfather's that my family seemed to be happy wasting, you know? So, I'm not really concerned. And Mark Toke's a survivor, Who the heck am I? What the heck is a nothing YouTube video of some guy struggling with mental health disorder matter to someone like Mark Toke? Someone that's traversed the worst that the world has to offer and came out smelling fine. He came out of the bushes smelling like roses. You know what I mean? He can take some constructive criticism from, a lowly, shunned member of the Lebanese Maronite community. Was I shunned? No, of course not. I feel shunned. That's the bipolar disorder, that's the mania, that's the mental health sort of component of it, quite emotional. And I'm thinking of how Facebook is such a great medium for, I want to say, scrapbooking for the creative, for the people struggling with mental health issues that kind of just want to express themselves and get a little bit of positive feedback. For me, it's really just as simple as that. I felt like I couldn't say what I wanted to say for years. In relation to things that I thought and felt about the Lebanese Maronite community, I just sort of kept quiet and let my uncles and aunties take the lead, the impression that I got from them is that Lebanese people are horrible, abusive, they don't care about each other, and they only care about money, and you can't look to them for help. That made me very anxious and depressed because I knew that that wasn't true. That was just a false projection based on a group of people that have been so severely harmed, let's just say, by an assortment of factors. Let's consider the lot that my aunties and uncles had. Their father went to Sydney and left them to the care of their mother for quite a long time. And see, I say abandoned because I'm emotional and I'm hyperbolic. But what actually happened was that young men and women were without their fathers for a prolonged period of time in a village where having a father figure was important because masculinity was so masculinity was an important component of society, let's just say. So it must have been hard for my uncles, you know. I felt like they were almost overcompensating, but I also felt like they were trying to impress their dad. He was the type of guy that never really showed affection. I definitely do get that impression. So that's how I feel about them now, knowing what I know about myself and sort of thinking really sort of deeply about the subject. And I'm finding that expressing these thoughts and ideas on Facebook, or rather through this podcast, is cathartic. That's the word. It's catharsis. It's like, whew, glad I got that off my chest, right? And that's awesome. It's a shame that there's no place in the real world where I could just do that with real people. You know, my community has sort of resigned me to an internet troll, unfortunately. And think that, I think saying that I'm an extrovert is reductive, but that's certainly, a part of my personality, right? I want to be out in the world talking and being with people, but the feedback that I get is quite negative. I don't feel comfortable with a lot of the vibes that I get from men. There's a lot of cynicism out there, um, and masculine projection disguised, well, rather, masculine projection disguising some sort of vulnerability. Let's just say, I think that's a good way to kind of characterize my experience with a lot of Lebanese Maronite men in Sydney, between the ages of 13 to 100, right? It really is like an intergenerational thing. It's across all generations. This kind of feeling and vibe that I get, that my issues are also my father's issues. And my lord, look, I've read 19th century literature and 18th century literature, and I think that even my grandfather, who was a little bit emo as well, he was a little bit maybe jealous of his sister, Amti Saud, that went to Australia beforehand. And I wonder if my great auntie Saud, you know, I, I'm sort of envious of her in a way, how amazing and awe-inspiring it must have been coming to Sydney for the first time and being sort of faced, confronted, whatever, just seeing the Opera House and the Harbour Bridge for the first time, and the trains that worked, and the trams. I think there must have been trams in the 60s, perhaps not, but buses, trains. I get this impression that she was just enthralled by it all. And my grandfather got that impression as well, that there was this magical place called Sydney where he can, make his fortune. And he followed my great auntie there, and he built something great, you know? But things don't last forever, right? And I think he held on to that greatness for a long time, but it dissipated and rotted since his death, unfortunately. But when he was alive, certainly, so he passed away 2012, 2011. I don't know, I don't remember, but I'm gonna say my memory of my grandfather, I think for me his heyday was the 90s. I mean, Ashfield. He built something really, really, really great, you know. But mate, there was a storm that came and just washed everything away, like Noah and the flood, because there was a lot of evil, and evil begats evil. And in a way, it's not. I wonder if the idea of like God's plagues is kind of a characterization or some sort of symbolism of what happens in real life, because drug addiction is like a disease, like the plague, right? That blew across our community, almost like a sign that what we were doing was wrong. Uh, um, it wasn't the fact that we broke the law. The law doesn't really matter to people like us. Um, we're the kind of people that change it, that move it. We have task forces that are needed to control us as a community. We are not to be messed with, kind of thing. Our issue is almost sort of transcendent. It's a spiritual, moral kind of transgression that we made. You know what I mean? It's not so much that we broke the law. You know, Caesar's law. Let's just say, if you want to continue this kind of symbolic talk, this religious talk, it's really how we trespassed against our neighbor, against our wives. You know, the abuse of our partners, of other people in our community, all for the pursuit of money and the hedonistic pleasure, the gluttonous hedonistic pleasure of that's associated with drugs, right? Cocaine, that's the hedonistic pleasure. For me, heroin wasn't really associated with that as much as it was something to take us away from, the misery of life, the miserable world that we were creating for ourselves, you know. Yeah, it was a really, really dark time in our culture's history. I'd say in the 80s and 90s. No, I'd say the 90s. You know, yeah, that's when we had to come down, let's say, for a lot of people. And that's when a lot of, men that were big time, big shots, realized that they had turned themselves into monsters and criminals, and did that whole merry-go-round of addiction, jail, rehab, back on the streets, back into jail, and then just round and round and round it goes. But two sides of the same coin. Some people were overwhelmed by it and crushed by it, and entered into the prison systems or the funeral systems, and other people used the opportunity, man. Like, because we generated a lot of income. Let's just say our per annum yield was quite healthy, right? And the smart business savvy of us hustled that and turned it into legitimate businesses, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Breaking good, right? Because we were always bad. For our story is the story of breaking good, if anything. And so the stories that I hear about, the apocryphal stories, I suppose, that I hear about people in our community that are wealthy builders, let's say, became wealthy from angel investors that were drug dealers. And I'm like, awesome, it's great. I'd rather that than, you continuing to buy drugs and engaging in that sort of criminality. It's like money laundering, but you're cleaning the money ethically as well. You know what I mean? You realize that it's a way better hustle if you legitimize your operation, because development is highly profitable in Australia if you are a self-motivated type, like Mark Taouk, like Johnny Ibrahim, like, plenty of others. Yeah, I suppose I don't know that many personally. I suppose I've just, top place. The Nassif family. Oh Lord, that's their story. What a divine story theirs is. Talk about breaking good. Like, that's Dostoevsky type breaking good. Your life is saved, from the firing squad, and what do you do with all that? Man, how he must have felt. What do you do with all that money, that you have, right? Yeah, I just get the sense that a lot of people became so repentant that they used that money for good and built a legacy on making sure that they become good figures and good leaders in the community, to kind of usher people away from that bad stuff and to become almost like shining lights in the community. That's great. Um, what is it? Penitence? Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's a great idea. And these are thoughts that I have that I'm sharing with you on a podcast because I don't have a place to go to share these thoughts. Um, ooh, lovely youth group at the Becharrie Association. We'll say Fridays. Yeah, or maybe keep the Fridays, for people. Maybe make it Wednesdays. Yeah, hump day sort of thing, right? Youth get together, we get to have a chat, break bread. Ages of 15 to 100. Yep, Becharrie Youth Organization from the age of 15 to 100, right? Because I'm telling you, you could have a youthful mind at 100, right? I think that's the point of having something like that, you know? Um, it revolves around food and conversation. Obviously, start with prayer, right? That's what the whole thing's about. The Becharrie Association, the Taouk Association, are centered around um, the Lebanese Maronite Church, right? And the fundamental truth of that. And from that, you have the most honored figure in the Lebanese Maronite community in Becharrie, which is Khalil Gibran. So he represents the thoughtful class, the literary class, the side of us that want to learn and give and love, but express that in a way that is that our neighbor can understand. Learn to talk and communicate. I think that's what the symbol of Khalil Gibran represents. The symbol of him, not him as a person, because he is a broken person, like myself and my Uncle Charlie, David Romanos, John Romanos, my mother, my father, Jesus Christ, for gosh sakes. I'm not trying to replicate any ideal necessarily because ideals don't really work in the world, right? So ideals are kind of contained in symbols, right, of people. It's the idea of what Khalil Gibran represents, the fact that one of our cousins, a nobody, a nothing from but Gibran, sold as many books as the Bible, for God's sakes, right? Just based on the strength of his wisdom and his literary skill and his artistic skill, right? He didn't do it because there was anything necessarily unique about him. It was really him expressing his love of Lebanon and the culture and what it represents, So we continue that idea, on a Wednesday hump day kind of gathering. That's a good way to think about it, a gathering. Nice, comfy gathering. Not like a church where everyone's standing up or we sit down and we listen to one person. A gathering where people intermingle. So that's the idea. Maronite church, right? So faith, prayer, component of it. Khalil Gibran, communication, expression, right? Beauty, love, whatever. All those, lovely, cringy, lame, gay words. And food, hospitality, right? That's what we are, right? It's intense for us to have guests over because we want to make sure that they feel like God in our house, right? And we care about that, right? So we need to have that component of it. I wonder if we should invite alcohol in there to be an example of like a safe, good way to drink. So perhaps I can make, I'm definitely going to make my famous Taouk picnic cocktails. yeah, fresh orange juice, fresh lemonade, and fresh orange juice cocktails. Maybe we can just revolve around that. Drinks and a chat, right? Winter. That's a good place to start. But it'll probably take some time to convince David Romanos to do that. But I have a sense that like for him, it's just Andrew. Just you obviously care more than me, so why don't you just organize it yourself? Yeah, maybe, but it'd be nice if he could help, or if at least he can get Charbel or Johnny to help me. That'd be nice. Um, but yeah, something along the lines of that would be really, really nice. But in the meantime, because it might take a while to get that off the ground, Facebook, man, he's awesome. Just take photos and express yourself. I think we lost that um, desire, and that desire turned into cynicism because we misused Facebook. I have a feeling that a lot of people overshared on Facebook Messenger on like uh, um, high, you gripped by cocaine mania, right? And they just stopped using Facebook. They traumatized themselves, you know? I think that people should, you know, rethink their relationship with Facebook and perhaps start sharing again. Nice things though, nothing positive, nothing negative, right? Nothing toxic, nothing destructive, just nice stuff. Like Johnny and his beautiful son, Maroon. Come on, man, more photos like that, more people like Johnny. All right, so Johnny is like a man's man, right? He's like Bazikta born and bred, and he is an excavator, right? He is an excavator. He's oh my god, yeah, what do you call it? Yeah, he drives an excavator. He does excavation, and he's got a big machine and a big truck, and he charges you. What's that thing called? Charges you when they go and come back. Not message. Anyway, whatever it is, the biggest rip off in the world. That fee should not exist. The fact that that exists, I do not understand. You should just lump it in your rate, you idiots. But anyway, that's beside the point. He is like, oh my god, like the man's man. There's the best the Lebanese Maronites have to offer. Okay, sorry, and he will die for his wife and kids, right? And you do not mess with a person like Johnny, because he, trust me. Oh, there's no one stronger than Johnny. Because if he wants to, he will take down uh, all of Shadi, for the love of his child. Yeah, you think I'm bad? Yeah, don't mess with Johnny, man. But Johnny, that's why I love seeing photos of Johnny and his beautiful blue-eyed son, because to me that is the pinnacle of, oh my lord, of the meek. That's what the meek means, right? Meek does not mean lame, weak, right? It's not what it means. It means a warrior, a soldier, like Johnny, that all he wants to. No, 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 no. This is the symbolism, right? It's a soldier like Johnny that knows that he has the strength of a small army, like a soldier who is at his happiest and most comfortable in the arms of his wife, holding his beautiful son, sharing lovely moments with his family. That's what it means to be meek, right? It's, I think what Jordan Peterson said is it's a warrior or a soldier that keeps his sword sheathed, that knows that he's strong and can hurt you, but presents himself as meek, because that's the way you should be. It's the essence of what it means to be a samurai. But also it's what Khalil Gibran was, right? He created works that enthralled people so much that they bought it. Yeah, they bought. Yeah, I can't finish that thought. They purchased copies of the Prophet as much as the Bible. That's how enthralled people were by Khalil Gibran. And he was meek. Look at photos of Khalil Gibran. He looks like your aunt and uncle. He looks like your uncle. He's kind of unattractive and balding. He's just this bloke. There's nothing special about him, but he created something so beautiful and amazing. That's what it means to be meek. Photos of Johnny and his beautiful son. Lovely photos of Zuzu and his uncle Tony. Both happy, content, smiling, secure, not posing. That's nice. I like that. And so use Facebook as a means of self-expression. Get yourself out there again. And I think that exercises like that are essential for people like Mansour. He needs to look at himself in the mirror and accept the person that is looking back at him. I understand that he has some insecurities, but he has so many good things to share. So Mansour loves Jordan Peterson, he loves Joe Rogan, and he has a lot of opinions about them. He needs to learn how to put those opinions in words and express that on Facebook. And a good place to start is the Wednesday gatherings at the Becharrie Association. We need to practice talking to each other, right? Intermingling, and then I can explain to Mansour, how to use his face double to his advantage. His never fading, what is it, 12 o'clock shadow? Yeah, whatever. Whatever it takes for Mansour to get back his self-confidence. Oh my God, man. He used to call my sister to get fashion tips from her. It's like, dude, that's not the right attitude. You need to learn fashion yourself. You need to find your own sort of identity, right? Get your own clothes, think of what you like and love. You're a person that started a company, you created something out of nothing. You are the elite 1%. So start acting like it, you ought to be acting like a leader. Your wedding was supposed to be an opportunity for the whole world to see you shine, and you kept that to yourself all greedily. Ugh, like a silly little boy. You'd shine at meetings like that, because you're a leader and people look to you. And I understand how that's overwhelming for you, right? And that's a lot. And you think you can't handle it because of the insecurity. But think of Khalil Gibran, right? I mean, yeah, if he can do it, so can you. Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd wear clothes really well. Yeah. I think you'd benefit from like the Kanye West silhouette look. Yeah. But yeah, we can talk about that. We could talk about anything you want. Jiu-jitsu, right? We can train each other, right? You can teach me how to do jiu-jitsu. Look at that. See, being friends and talking. Isn't that lovely? And we could think about that on Wednesdays. Think about what you do, Mansour, in your office with the boys, right? That's a seed of something really, really lovely. You bring people together because you're a leader, right? So that's the seed of something that you can plant at the Becharrie Association. It's a really, really good start. Yeah, so let's think about doing it from that perspective, right? Let's get the boys on top of it. Let's make it happen. Or not. It's alright. I like doing this for now. It's actually a lot of fun. It's helped me with my interpersonal skills and my oration skills. Oh, look at me go. God, I want this for you too, Mansoor. Alright. Love you. Bye.